The views, opinions, and advice expressed in this podcast are solely those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and positions of Pattison Media or the sponsors of this program.
Breathe out. 2, 3, 4.
Wellness is.
Most people spend a lot of energy trying to avoid being aware of what's going on inside of them. The truth is, we avoid our inner life like the plague.
When we talk about healthy gut, it's like inside you've got like a city of what we would call, gut health superheroes working to create a healthy you.
It's just black stretchy pants, meaning like whatever is stressing us out or, at the end of the day, it's just black stretchy pants.
Welcome to Choosing Wellness, your podcast for practical advice about how to attain better physical and mental well-being so that instead of just surviving, you're thriving. Choosing Wellness is powered by Pattison Media. In this series, we'll share a health journey, explore the trends, and talk to the experts who will help you live your best life. And we'll have fun doing it. In this episode, gut health and probiotics. What is slow wellness? Life Unlimited Stephanie Staples talks about Pomodoro, why hugging is good for your health, and what is mindfulness again? I'm Linda Freeman. Come join the journey of choosing wellness.
How to choose wellness.
So there's a lot of talk around gut health and still a lot of research to be done in this area, and especially how it is related to our overall wellness. Shannon Crocker is a registered dietitian and nutritionist. And I would also say a friend, as we've connected on health topics for years. And it's so great to have you on Choosing Wellness, Shannon.
I'm really excited about being here with you, and I'm very passionate about gut health. Gut health is a relatively new area of science, and there's still lots and lots to discover. But what we do know definitively is that the foods that you eat can influence your digestive health and influence your gut health. And more is coming out to show that can have an impact on so many different areas of your overall health. So from everything from how your body uses energy to your skin health, your immune system health, heart health, brain health.
And that's what's really fascinating to me. Actually, if you just think about it logically, it's not a surprise that our gut health is really important to our overall health. A lot happens in the gut.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what's really interesting? I graduated from my master's in nutrition about 30 years ago now. We weren't even talking about gut health. There was no talk about connection between your gut microbiome and your overall health. Even in the last 5 to 10 years, there's been so much more coming out, but there's still so much more that we don't know.
Yeah, and it's trickling into sort of, I'm going to call it mainstream conversation. But I think so many people go, what exactly is gut health? Is there any way to simplify what we're talking about when we talk specifically about gut health, Shannon?
So when we talk about healthy gut, typically what that means is we're talking about a healthy microbiome or an ecosystem of about 100 trillion tiny microorganisms living in your intestinal system, which might sound kind of icky. Inside, you've got like a city of what we would call gut health superheroes working to create a healthy you. They're talking to each other, they're boosting each other, and that microbiome or your microbiota, all of those different microorganisms working around in your gut together are helping to keep your body healthy.
Oh, I love how you just said that. Thank you so much. And I know people listening are saying thank you. Light bulbs are going off because that makes so much sense. I love the superhero piece.
Yeah.
We hear a lot about probiotics. And one consistent message that I've received when talking to dietitians, all the way to naturopaths and even doctors, is probiotics are important. But really, what are they?
Think of them as live or active bacteria that actually, when you eat them in adequate amounts, have a specific health benefit for you. So typically, we would get probiotics from supplements. And if you decide you want to go the supplement route, it's always great to talk to a dietitian about what strain might be good for you, depending on your health issue. Basically, to sum it up, they're beneficial microbes. They support good bacteria in your gut. so that they can do the job that they need to do.
What foods can we get the probiotics from to help increase those probiotics in the gut?
There's a lot of confusion about probiotics. They're like live or active bacteria. You would find in something like a probiotic yogurt, a probiotic yogurt drink. When you're buying those products, look for the words probiotic on the yogurt or the yogurt drink or the kefir, and look for the strain, because they will list the strain of active bacteria, and it always has to have a best before date on it.
Is there a number around probiotics as to how much we should have each day?
There's not a blanket statement where I would say, this is how many probiotic foods you should have in a day. So what I recommend when it comes to gut health is your whole diet really matters. Overall eating pattern is really important. So I like to recommend to people, look for a diversity of foods, specifically those plant foods that are going to give you fiber. So, taking a step back from fermented foods and from probiotics, and say those are two great foods that I try to recommend people get. But taking a step back, one of the easiest things that you could do is to try to get more foods with fiber, because that fiber, we know, definitely feeds the good bacteria in your gut and helps to keep you healthy. And most people aren't getting enough of that on a very regular basis.
When you break this down and you take a look at it, it's the way we should be eating. And if we were eating the way we should eat, we wouldn't have these problems in our guts.
It is basic healthy eating. It's whole grains. It's veggies and fruits. It's legumes, lentils, beans, tofu. It's those whole grains like wheat berries and barley. All of these are very basic food ingredients. And these, we know, like having a mixture of these, a variety of these foods, can help you to boost the diversity and the health of the good bacteria in your gut.
And when our gut is healthy, we're going to feel better.
Yeah, overall health and wellness definitely can be boosted by a good gut health. I would kind of challenge everybody to try to get 30 different plant foods a week. Just start adding them up over the course of a day. You could easily get 10 if you had a really great salad, right? And you've got, 3 different veggies in there, and you've got some nuts in there, and maybe you've got some chickpeas, and maybe you add on like some wheat berries in there for something. It's not only is it going to help you to be sustainable, but you're going to get a little more fiber, and you're going to get another plant in there. So it can definitely be done. You just have to do a little bit of planning to try to figure it out. But that's a really great challenge for yourself, is to try to get 30 plants in a week.
Yeah, I love it, Shannon. So some really great takeaways. We talked, about the probiotics helping your gut health. Getting more fiber will also help your gut health. Basically, just eating a well-balanced diet and doing those 30 plant-based foods in a week will help with your overall gut health and your health in general.
Exactly.
It was really wonderful connecting with you again. You're always a wealth of information. And for more great tips and living well, you can follow Shannon on Instagram at shannoncrocker.ca.
Thanks, Linda.
To learn more about probiotic foods, check out everythinglifestyle.ca. Coming up later on Choosing Wellness, why hugging is good for our health.
Health Tag.
It is a fast-paced world we live in. We go at full speed even when it comes to wellness, rushing to classes or going all out at the gym. So let's pump the brakes a bit and check out the concept of slow wellness. Producer Karen Habashi catches up with wellness entrepreneur Melissa Nakomo.
Welcome to Choosing Wellness. Before we discuss slow wellness, I would love if you can introduce yourself to our listeners.
Thank you for having me. My name is Melissa Nakomo. I am a wellness entrepreneur, a somatic practitioner. I work across various modalities, but most of my time is spent running a business called Kunye, which is a multidisciplinary wellness agency. And we desire to create a world that is more mindful, more slow, more soft, and most importantly, more regulated, helping people connect to themselves and care for themselves in a way that is much more intentional and sustainable, not only for the individual caring for themselves, but for the planet, for people as a collective.
What is slow wellness? How is it different than wellness in general?
To me, slow wellness is really, you could call it a lifestyle. I call it a modality. It's an approach for how to take care of yourself at its very basic essence. Slow wellness is essentially a more mindful, present, and intentional approach to accomplishing a felt sense of greater wellness and well-being. I didn't expect it to become sort of a mini movement, but I created it for myself because I personally felt so incredibly overwhelmed, not only with the amount of information available, but just all the directives that people were giving.
Let's go. We're halfway. Switch legs in the back. Let's go.
I just felt like it had an energy of hustle culture. In my pursuit of feeling healthy and well, I was feeling overwhelmed. I was getting burnt out. I was overexerting, overworking my mind and my body, and I was moving further away from the goal rather than towards it. And so slow wellness is sort of the antidote to what I feel like the modern context of wellness has become. So slow wellness is about moving away from hustle wellness culture and moving more into a mindful and intentional approach to genuine well-being.
Everything you said, I think, resonates with so many people. Do you feel more people are coming to the acceptance of let's slow down?
That's a challenging question to answer. Do I think more people are accepting it? No. I think we are naturally quite resistant. But do I think more people are craving it? Yes. And the thing is that regardless of what we know we need, we are all influenced. It's the small little messages throughout our day. We might have a boss that we have to be accountable to. We have our kids. We have everyone tugging at our attention and sending us messages that say, in order to feel worthy, you need to accomplish X, Y, and Z. And so there is a fear attached to moving away from that or detaching yourself from that, which is totally normal. So it's not as simple as saying, I need to slow down, so therefore I will. So I understand people's resistance to slowing down, but I do think that as a collective, it is something we're all really craving, whether we feel like we can give that to ourselves or not.
On that point, if we can slow down in certain aspects of our life, like you said, the job, the demanding bosses, the needing to step up your game, what are other things that we can do in our day-to-day life to slow down our routine and ground us?
I would say one of the easiest ways to get started, especially if you're someone who's I can't sit still, I don't want to do these conventional wellness practices. Think about in the action that you are taking in your day-to-day, what could you slow down? And it could literally be as simple as slowing your breath down. So can I take 5 slow, deep breaths? Even set a timer, remind myself. Take a minute to breathe slowly. Could you grocery shop slower? Could you take your time and meander through the aisles and just be present in the experience of grocery shopping? Could you sip your tea or coffee slower? So prioritizing that slowness in activity in your daily life is really important. And then the second thing would be honoring our innate capacity and being honest and truthful, not only with ourselves, but with the people around us.
We live in a culture that you have to be completely burnt out or something is affecting you mentally or physically, that you need to take time off. And I think also because lots of people think if you're not busy, you're not productive.
I like to think of it as a neuro response to overwhelm and anxiety that we're failing to acknowledge. So instead of just saying, I'm so overwhelmed, this task feels hard to do, I feel fear, I feel whatever, we're I'm just going to do a load of laundry, or I'll just scroll and not acknowledge the fact that, I'm actually resisting this thing and maybe I should slow down and figure out why I'm resisting it. So if we slow down and really start to inquire within why we're making the choices that we're making.
I think we forgot that we're humans. We became like robots. You have to do A, B, C, and you have to take more than you can chew. And I think we need to understand our limitations.
100%. And that's where I think sitting with yourself, spending time doing nothing and recognizing what kind of discomfort comes up in that spaciousness, it can be a really confronting practice, but it's a really important one. To know yourself, to connect to yourself only allows you to get to know others and connect to others on a deeper level and a more regulated level and a more embodied level. I teach for a large athletic apparel company, and at the beginning of our sessions, we do a little check-in, and one of their slogans that I love is "It's just black stretchy pants," meaning like whatever is stressing us out, or, you know, at the end of the day, it's just black stretchy pants. And I love that when I heard it, because sometimes we do have to remind ourselves that like, it's not rocket science. We're not healing the world. You know, there's a sense of urgency that we place upon ourselves, or importance that we place upon ourselves, that is really man-made. So yeah, to remind myself and others, if it's not truly urgent, then maybe we can just be a little bit more graceful with each other, give each other a little bit more time and space.
I hope more people get the notice. Melissa, you're a breath of fresh air. I feel better even talking to you. Your calmness is very infectious.
Thank you. That's such a compliment, I think. In a world that is not often calm, I really appreciate that. And I'm so thankful to you for inviting me to be a guest and just to share my insights. And I'm just one perspective, and I'm like everybody else, just out here trying to figure it out.
You can find Melissa on Instagram, Melissa Nkomo, spelled Nkomo. Later on Choosing Wellness, we hear a being real story of not feeling loved.
Life Unlocked.
According to scientists, hugging can actually be good for your health and have a lot of benefits way beyond just holding somebody in your arms.
Hugging makes us feel good, and it turns out that hugging is proven to make us healthier and happier.
There's research that shows that a hug releases oxytocin in the brain.
Yep, everything you heard is true, and then some. Hugging is good for us. Believe it or not, hugging can make you healthier. It actually has a positive impact on your immune system. When we hug, the hormone oxytocin is released, which supports immune function, helping your body fend off illness and helps in the reduction of inflammation. Oxytocin also boosts your mood and reduces stress and anxiety. Look at a hug as an instant way to make you more relaxed. Hugging also increases serotonin, a neurotransmitter known as the feel-good hormone. And hugs aren't just good for the soul. Research suggests that hugging may lower blood pressure and heart rate and may contribute to better cardiovascular health.
You need a hug.
No, Gwen, I don't need a hug. Whoa! I said no hug.
Don't fight it. It'll make you feel better.
Hugs create a powerful emotional connection. They can convey love, care, and support without uttering a single word. Feeling connected to others through hugs can improve your overall emotional well-being. Hugs increase your feelings of being seen. Now, if you find hugging others difficult, start with hugging yourself. Research also shows that self-hugging can have a similar impact. And if you like hugging, hug a little longer. Extended hugging for 20 seconds or more can boost serotonin levels, giving you that feeling of happiness and love. Coming up later on Choosing Wellness, we talk about the importance of taking breaks with Life Unlimited, Stephanie Staples.
Being real.
We all have a story, and most of us have many. Our journey to wellness can be so different from one person to another. For some of us, it's dealing with how our past has shaped who we are and the journey we go through to come out the other side. This is Lorna's story. This is Being Real.
My name is Lorna Kitcho. I'm a writer and an actor. What became clear to me as I was making my own experiences through life, specifically in romantic relationships, was that I was stuck in a specific pattern that had to do with the complicated relationship I had with my mother. That made me dig through writing, because that's my outlet. I was able to put certain pieces together and realize that older generations did not necessarily have the luxury that we have today to be able to look inside and figure out why we feel the way we feel, why we react the way we react. And I could see a pattern between how she was talking about her own mother and her experiences and how I experienced it. You can see a pattern, and it's impacted me in a way that I think it took me a while to realize how damaging it had been. And I think people also around me when I was growing up, because thankfully I had older people that were there in ways that my mother wasn't, that today were able to talk about it with me, and they saw it as I was growing up. I think for me, it wasn't anything that my mother ever said to me. It was her absence and her inability to give me the love that I needed and to be emotionally available for me. I think my way of trying to unconsciously fix my relationship with my mother, or at least prove to myself that I was worthy of love, was to find people like her in some way and have them show me love. And I think through writing and therapy, I realized that. And so I think there was a rational understanding of that. But I think it's only recently that I can say that I really had a breakthrough that felt emotional when I was able to actually make better decisions. And for those decisions also to feel good, to not feel like, oh, that's not what love should feel like. I mean, I was lucky because my dad was the opposite, though I did not grow up with him and my parents were divorced. There was a stark contrast between the two. What I mean by that is just doing the little things that show a kid that you love them. When I needed her, for her to actually listen and care and take the time to be there, at least in the moments where I needed it the most, she didn't think it was that big of a deal. And then I made my first short film, and it portrays a really toxic relationship between a mother and a daughter. All my family immediately knew that it was about that. My mother, however, did not pick up on it at all. My mom came for coffee one day and she asked me about it. She was like, when you write something, is it inspired by your life? And I'm like, yeah, it always is. Maybe 2-3 weeks later, I had coffee again. Then she asked me, is it about me? And I did express that, yeah, when I was growing up, I didn't know if my mother loved me. I literally was writing about it and I was very unhappy and she was never there when I needed her. And I said all of those things and it was interesting to see her reaction. And I think that really made me understand her better because it was new information. She had never seen that. Now that blows my mind still today, but it also shows that she was dealing with her own stuff. And I also saw how hurt she was to hear it. And she said that she knows that she hadn't been the best mother, but that there is still time and we can make up for it. She is making a clear effort to show me and tell me how much she loves me and be there in the ways that she can. Also try and understand her own feelings more. Which is also something that I was surprised to realize that she had a really hard time identifying how she felt and being able to put words on it. And now she's trying to learn how to do that better. So yeah, it's made me see that my mother is also just a human being who's trying to do life as best as she can.
Thank you for sharing your story, Lorna. Mindfulness and meditation can be key tools in helping us find true happiness. Later, we start a conversation around mindfulness with registered clinical counselor Claire Maisonneuve.
I'm nice for a living. I'm nice for a living. I'm nice for a living. I'm nice for a living.
Life Unlimited with Stephanie Staples.
Well, we've hit the time in the podcast where we chat with Stephanie Staples, who's a motivational speaker, making life real, making things better, making life easier. And Steph, I wanted to talk to you because A, it's always great to see you. Hello. We have fun. But the latest stat, I shouldn't say I was surprised by this. I wasn't, but it really made me think that worldwide, people spend an average of almost 7 hours a day on screens. And that's a lot of time to me. And there's so much research around this now that talks about how being attached to our devices is having a major effect on our health. And this is why I turned to you, and I wanted to jump right into this because I was so excited to be able to talk to you because you're so good at helping us find ways to reset our lives in a better way. So how do we pull away and give ourselves that cognitive and emotional break that we need from our screens?
Well, it's so fascinating, right? Because even if most of us are working in front of a screen, in fact, 7 hours, it could be more for many of us because we're working in front of a screen all day. And then at night, we're our heads oftentimes. But I have been using this Pomodoro technique. Have you heard of this before?
I haven't. So you can tell us all about it.
Okay, well, I think it's quite brilliant because I don't know about you, but when I'm in front of a screen, time goes so fast. It just flies by. Like hours just disappear. You know, when I'm engrossed in my work and I'm focused on what I'm doing, time flies really quickly. The Pomodoro technique suggests that you set your timer, an actual timer, for 25 minutes. And every 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. And then after 4 of what they call these Pomodoros, you take a 15 to 20-minute break. Now, I think, many of us are okay at taking our little bit longer breaks when we need a break, but the 25-minute blocks have been really, really life-changing. It's too big of a word, but that buzzer goes off and it's like, okay, I got to get up. I got to do something. It doesn't really matter what you do. It just matters that you do something, that you physically move your body, your eyes away from the screen, and you go do something else. And what happens, what I've noticed for sure, is that when you come back 5 minutes later and you only have 25 minutes before that thing's going off again. So, okay, I got to do this. I'm giving myself 25 minutes to do this. And I'm not fiddle farting around and in different, getting distracted with different things because I know I only have 25 minutes and then I got to get up again. So it's been really, really helpful for me. What do you think?
I love it. That little ding or whatever it happens to be, the buzz on your watch or whatever you decide to use for this would give me that cue. So I like this idea. I think it's brilliant. And I have heard that we should move, every 25, 30 minutes. And I didn't realize that there was an actual name for it. So I like this. One of your blogs, you spoke just to that 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes to do something else. And I really liked that concept as well, to go in hand with this break every 25 minutes. So what would you say are your specific, to share, we'll start there, best 5 ways to take that 5 minute or so break away from your screen?
Nothing life-shattering here, but I think the most obvious thing would be a bio break, right? Like how many times have you been so immersed in your work or whatever that you have to go to the bathroom and you just didn't go to the bathroom, or something simple like that. Or, refresh your tea or make sure you're drinking enough. Just checking in, what do I need right now to feel more comfortable? Is it a good temperature? I need to open the window, close the window, get a drink, use the bathroom, anything like that. Anything with your body. So I personally, and okay, it's different if you're at home or if you're at the workplace, right? So you're not going to lie on the floor and do push-ups, probably if you're in a workplace. But here at home, I will often do that. I will just do a few yoga poses, or I will do a few sit-ups or a few push-ups, or just some super good stretching, or have one of those chin-up bars on my door. I'll just hang from that.
I love it.
Just for a couple minutes to make me do something physical that is not sitting down on my tush. Something that makes you feel good. So something social. So if you are at the office to be having a chat with somebody else who's maybe on the same timer as you, not to be disturbing people, but with my honey, I've been known to come out of my office and be like, I just need a hug. I just need a hug. Whatever I'm working on it's heavy on my head and I just need a hug. Or if you have a pet, take a couple minutes to pet your pet or give some attention or just get some love in that way. And fresh air, like something one of my favorite sayings is blue and green must be seen.
Love that one.
So if you have an opportunity to just step outside and take a few deep breaths, or look at something nature-like, or water your plant, or something that's going to bring nature into this instead of this big black box in front of us. Oh, and did I say music? Because anything to do with music, like one song would be less than 5 minutes, and you could have your little dance party, or just a song can totally change your mood, right?
Yeah, all things that can just distract you from being stuck on your screen, and that can bring you a little bit of joy as well. Like that's what I like about the list that you just gave, or brings us more into the present space.
Well, I think, your research will find there's all sorts of psychological benefits to everything that we talked about individually. But when you start layering these things on top of each other, it exponentially is more, I guess the word, and one of my favorite words is revitalization.
Yes.
We want to be revitalized. We can't constantly be putting our head down in work mode and be giving our best. And so when we can come up for air, we can revitalize ourselves, we can refresh ourselves, we can push that reset button. We come back in front of our desk and we're like, okay, I'm got 25 minutes. Let's go. I'm good to go. I just hit that reset button mentally, physically, emotionally, and we're good to go. It's one thing reading about it, but when you actually put it into practice, it's like, I think this actually works. And the other thing is, Linda, we read things and we think maybe, oh, that's a great idea. I should do that. Or maybe we think that would never work for me. But I also think you read these ideas and so it says 25 minutes. So what if you thought, I need 35 minutes? So set it for 35 minutes. Make it your own and make it something that works for you, right?
I love it. And it'll help improve your mental clarity, give you positive outlooks, like all the things that the research is telling us doing this will do for us will actually happen. And you're living proof of that, Steph, because you just said that you have seen that remarkable change in your life because of it.
I have. Try it.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to set my timer once we're done chatting today. Anything else you want to say before we go?
It's Stephanie Staples, just encouraging you to live your life unlimited.
Steph, love it. Love spending time with you. And you can find more amazing life ideas at stephaniestaples.ca.
Mindfulness Moment.
It's time to revisit what mindfulness is and how you can benefit from it. Claire Maisonneuve is a registered clinical counselor with Alpine Counseling Clinic in Vancouver.
There's a lot of talk about mindfulness, but I don't know how much people really understand what is mindfulness really at its core. And most people will say that mindfulness means being aware. But what are we aware of? So being aware that I'm anxious or being aware that I'm angry is really not enough. And it's not true mindfulness, because mindfulness is actually a really, really deep concept, because it refers to a process of deep introspection and self-analysis. So I'm looking for what are the thoughts that I'm having? What are the emotions that are following those thoughts? Because my emotions always follow from thoughts. Emotions don't come out of nowhere. They always follow thoughts. And as a result, those emotions are going to create the impetus for our behavior. So I'm looking for what's happening in my body, because my emotions are going to create a physical sensation. Every emotion has a corresponding sensation in the body. So when I'm mindful, I'm wanting to notice what is going on in what I call my interior life. We're very mindful of what you're doing and shouldn't be doing and should be doing, and the judgments I have about you and everybody else around us. But being mindful of what's going on inside of me is a really big challenge. So I want to be mindful of all those different aspects that are going on inside of me, because that is what allows me to become a master of my life and my destiny. To create the life that I want, to create the future that I want, to create the relationships that I want, the career opportunities that I want, and all of that, I have to constantly be aware of what I am producing inside of me, because that is going to impact the way I will be in relationship, the way I'm going to respond to people, the way I'm going to respond to opportunities, just the way I'm going to carry myself in life. So mindfulness is so much deeper than most people make it to be. It's easy to say, well, just live in the present moment, but it's not easy to do that. And one of the reasons why it's not easy to do that is because, to be quite frank, most people spend a lot of energy trying to avoid being aware of what's going on inside of them. We avoid our inner life like the plague. We don't want to go there because it's uncomfortable. We don't know what to do with this discomfort. We don't know how to manage it. We don't have enough skills. So we're constantly actually trying to not be mindful of our inner life. So it's a little bit of a paradox and a bit of an irony that today there's so much talk about mindfulness, but at the same time, there's so much effort to not be still and be aware and be present with every single aspect of what's going on inside of me. I'd say the first step is understanding the purpose and the meaning of mindfulness. And then the second step is I need to buy into what that process is going to do for me. And one of the ways that we do become mindful, or we are helped to become mindful, is through counseling. Because counseling is a really safe place to help us create a mindful experience. Therapy is the place where you start connecting with what's going on inside of you in a way that is safe and supported by other people. Once you start doing that in a safe environment, then it's easier then for you to do that on your own.
Thanks, Claire. Next time, Claire will talk to us about the importance of buying into the process and finding more peace. You can find Claire at anxietyandstressrelief.com. Life is challenging, and choosing wellness in our daily lives may seem like adding to the already long to-do list. But together, we can make it easier. Join us on the next Choosing Wellness as we talk about global health and nurturing friendships. I'm Linda Freeman. Let's connect again soon as together we take the journey of choosing wellness. You've been listening to Choosing Wellness, an initiative powered by Pattison Media, designed to inspire and motivate a healthy life. For more information on this program, go to everythinglifestyle.ca.
Another Everything Podcast production. Visit everythingpodcast.com, a division of Pattison Media. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.